So, for the end of the year, I was originally planning on doing a top 5 list of my favorite games of 2015. But due to some unfortunate personal stuff, I haven't had the time or the energy to put into capturing all that footage. So instead, I thought I'd take a more laid back approach and talk about the game that was number 1 on my list, Fallout 4. Yeah, I know it's really buggy, and I know that saying, oh, Bethesda games are always buggy, it's okay, it's sort of an excuse, and Bethesda shouldn't be getting away with what they get away with. Whatever. I love this game. I don't care. I mean, how can you not love a game that lets you put in a silly name and then this happens?
Mr. Boobies!
The Witcher 3 was a close second, only because despite how awesome it is and how it had done things I'd never seen in a game, it just didn't grab me the way Fallout did. Fallout 4 is great. Say what you will about the bugs, the changes to the dialogue system, or the lack of any real moral choices, I still thought the game was fantastic. I was able to get lost in it for hours on end. It combined what I loved about Fallout 3 and, to a point, New Vegas, and took it to a whole new level as far as what you can do. The world felt much more alive this time around. Anytime I would walk into a new area and hear the gunfire in the distance, I loved finding out what was going on and just watching the chaos happening around me. While some of the changes in the game did leave something to be desired, some of the changes were actually pretty awesome in my opinion, such as the power armor. In Fallout 3, if you wanted to use power armor, you had to go through the special training to do so. This time, however, you can potentially get into your first suit very early into the game. And instead of just equipping it like any other item, you step into the machine, like your very own Iron Man suit. There is, however, a balancing mechanic, and that is, in order to use the power armor, you need fusion cores to power them. Early on in the game, these bad boys are a little hard to come by, and they do run out of juice somewhat quickly. Later on, though, I ended up with around 100 of them, so now I just use power armor whenever I want. I even have a little collection. This time around, you can even romance your companions. I decided to romance Piper because, well, look at her, she's just so darn cute! The main thing I wanted to talk about today is arguably the biggest addition to Fallout 4, the town building system. You can capture various settlements on the map, and once you do, you can use all the junk laying around in the world to craft whatever you want. Walls, furniture, defenses, anything. Going into Fallout 4, I decided I wanted to get my very first Platinum Trophy. For those who don't know, a Platinum Trophy is something you earn by getting all the other trophies in a PlayStation game. What are trophies? They're like PlayStation's version of achievements. Come on, try to keep up here. And there's actually one trophy that's all about the building system. And it is bullcrap. The trophy, called Benevolent Leader, requires you to get a large settlement to 100% happiness, which is so much easier said than done. I'd heard before attempting this trophy that it's probably the hardest one to unlock. The trick is to have as many settlers as you can have in the settlement, which requires you to max out your charisma. Then you want to put them all to work, have enough food, water, and beds to account for each person, as well as an overabundance of defenses. Then, with time, their happiness is supposed to go up. I had initially tried doing this in the settlement of Sanctuary Hills, but after some research, I found a thread on Reddit that said you can get the trophy much easier and quicker in a smaller settlement, like the nearby Red Rocket truck stop. This would ideally require a lot less people and also makes it easier to fill the size meter, which is what determines whether or not your settlement is large. You also want to decorate, like literally fill up as much wall as you can with as many paintings and signs as you can. I decided on kittens and a puppy. You might notice my settlement has a lot of clinics. That's because you want certain stores in your town at their third tier to raise happiness, and apparently, clinics have the highest effect. You also want to be around your settlers as much as possible, as your presence actually affects their happiness as well. The easiest way to do this is to build a bell. Ringing the bell brings all of your settlers to you. Eventually. Come on. Then you're just kind of supposed to stand there and, be with them. When you have a doctor in your town and you go to talk to them, they ask by default if you want them to heal you. And since I have so many doctors, well, the game kind of bugged out and resulted in...
I can patch you up if you need it. For a small fee, of course.
Not interested.
Very well.
I can patch you up if you need it. For a small fee, of course.
Not today.
Fine. If you need fixing up, let's get a look at you.
Except for this guy who apparently got offended?
Not today.
Fine.
Okay, so I should have enough people. There's plenty of food and water, enough beds and a roof over everyone's head, and enough firepower to take down an army of Deathclaws. Also clinics. Lots and lots of expensive clinics. And the worst part in all of this? Remember how I said your presence can affect your town's happiness? Well, it really affects their happiness. Due to some apparent bug, if you happen to leave your town in this whole process, it can drop their happiness significantly. And since it's so hard to get it up in the first place, you do not want that. The solution? Just stay there. Just do not leave. Just stay there and rot in your own misery, sacrificing your happiness for the happiness of many. Well, in my case, 10. Dearest Piper, it has been several days now since I have begun this arduous task. I wish to leave this place, but I fear I cannot. I have literally built my own prison. I have done all that these people have asked. And I'm pretty much broke because Tier 3 clinics are really expensive to make. The people's happiness does not appear to be rising. After all this time, it's still only at like 51. Bunch of ungrateful peasants is all they are. I shall see that this is the end of my pain. And theirs. Sincerely yours, Mr. Boobies. Want to see more of my stupid face and hear my stupid voice say stupid things about video games? Then go ahead and click on that subscribe button, and also make sure to check out the links to my social networks below.